Hey guys, what's up? MurderofBirds here, and this past episode of Parasyte, episode 5, an insane cliffhanger. Very spine chilling for the last bits that we got. And I'm really looking forward to next week's episode, or rather tomorrow's episode. This was 2 weeks late of episode 4 and 5. I was not able to do. Been working 40 hours a week, been busting my ass, been sleeping most of the time, and not really having time to catch up, which I do apologize for any of you who have been looking forward to this. But I will definitely be doing next week's episode. I don't work tomorrow, so there's no excuses. And as the series progresses, I will try to be on time because this is greatness and it's definitely getting a lot better, especially with this past episode of this immense cliffhanger. Shinichi's mother taking over by the parasites. Killed, body taken over. I was, oh my goodness, like I couldn't understand. I couldn't believe it. Like I was in shock by what was happening. Mother's killed, father MIA, potentially dead as well. You know, he was in that phone booth. And not just that, but they take it up another notch by having the mother face to face with Shinichi to where Shinichi's hysterical. This man can't even, gather his mentality. His psyche is he's completely shattered. It's in shambles. He's hysterical. He's talking to his mother about, oh yeah, I should have told you about this parasite on my arm. I'm telling you everything. I feel so guilty, and he's crying and everything. And it's just like, dude, like you're done. Like it was crazy. It was very, very troubling. It was very distressful to see, and it was very saddening to him finding out, having a hard time coming to terms that his mother's dead, his father's nowhere to be found, and then gets speared across the chest, right out of his back. And that's it. And that's the cliffhanger they leave you off on. And you think like what? And I don't think I've ever been this devastated by a cliffhanger of wanting to know what happens next since Hunter x Hunter, when Gon was going up against Neferpito in the next episode of his whole transformation, all that shit. But like now the continuation of where this goes is at an all-time high for me of like, I need to know what happens. How is Shinichi going to survive this? He's still human. Granted, a part of him is definitely changed as he's no longer pure, as Ryoko mentioned, but for the most part, he's still human. He got speared through the chest, out his back. Like, how is he going to survive that? What's Migi going to do? Because if Shinichi goes and Migi goes, so Migi's going to have to think of stuff to do. And not just that, this parasite's still going to be there. So it's like, how are they going to deal with the parasite, get that out of the way, and then tend to Shinichi's wound, make sure he doesn't die? A lot of things, like, is Migi going to end up killing him? Is Migi going to influence and take over his body or do some regenerative type of properties or something like that? I'm just wondering, like, how is Shinichi not going to die? Because it's obvious, like, Shinichi can't die. Like, the series has to progress. So it's like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to the mother parasite? Is she going to get off scot-free? Is Shinichi going to have to go after her after he heals up? So much, like, ridiculousness. And like I mentioned, Shinichi's just, his psyche is in shambles. Like, he's hysterical. He's blaming Migi for everything. Like, oh, you told me my parents were going to be fine, and now all this happens. He feels guilty from way back in the day, back in like the flashback of his mother's scar in his hand. And ultimately, he's going through the phases of loss, of death. His mother's dead. That's the reality of it, and he's unable to come to terms with it, especially in the way that it happened. It's a parasite at the end of it all. This whole thing is just revolved around his life of Migi, of these other parasitic organisms that want to do harm to him, and then at the very end of the day, knocks right on his doorstep, walks right through his doorstep, rather. And this is the situation we're in. And it was very saddening to see of, like his mother of all that, because they were, they had their scuffles during, the last 2 episodes and everything that's happened thus far. Fucking insane. I can't say anything more than that. Fucking insane of where this is going to go. And the first thing that I'm thinking about, massive character development and growth for Shinichi more than anything. Of now, this event is going to mold his character. It's going to mold how he goes. It's going to mold his personality, his growth, his development as the series progresses, of his dead parents, his mother especially dead, his father, MIA, potentially dead, all that. That's just going to form a new motive. And I feel like at this point, it's going to be a motive of revenge, because he's already filled with hatred of everything that these parasites have done, and everything that they've dealt for him in his life and the people around him. To where now it hit close to home. It hit right in his homestead, his mother, his father, to where now it's going to turn into an act of revenge. and that motive is going to lead him to actually go after these parasites, because up until now he's just wanted to find a way to defend himself and the people he cares about, try to figure out some answers, get some answers of, you know, why these parasites are doing this. But at this point, he's going to go to their doorstep now, and he's going to essentially try to go out and kill all of them. At least that's what I'm going to take from this episode, just because his growth and his personality has definitely changed from a timid and slightly normal type of person to a more aggressive and demanding type of character. And from there, his psychological development is something that I'm looking forward to the most, because I'm a sucker for psychological genre, for psychological thriller, for any type of psychological aspects to any anime. And Shinichi's development and change over the course up until now has definitely been something that I've really enjoyed thus far. Especially when Ryoko mentioned that he's no longer pure, and you saw those red specks in his eyes and all that stuff. Essentially, I feel like that means as Migi is connected to him, his mentality is being changed. And we've seen that thus far of, you know, him with the bully. He was telling those kids with the cat, oh, do you want me to eat you? He yelled at Murano when A was in the school, like, hey, get away from me, leave me alone. He yelled at his mother for walking in on him. She's like, make sure you close the door next time. And he actually got a lot more violent towards those thugs who were, you know, trying to pick a fight with him and Murano, to where he actually activated Shinichi's, you know, claw abilities. Like, oh shit, like, I feel like he did that based on instinct. So up until now, he's obviously changed. He's definitely not pure. He's definitely not the same as he wants to claim that he is. How everyone says, oh, you're different. Have you changed? You're not the same person you are. So his development is psychological development is something I'm looking forward to the most. Another concept, another aspect of this entire ordeal is Migi. Now, like, what's the relationship going to be between Migi and Shinichi? Because as it was shown this episode, Shinichi was blaming Migi of, oh, it's your fault. It's your kind's fault. I trusted you. You told me my parents are going to be safe, and now they're not. So right then and there, and Migi did try. He was like, hey, get out of the way. That's not your mother. You know, you're going to get attacked. You're going to get hurt. So Migi did try, but at the same time, and at the end of it all, it still didn't measure up, because at the end of the day, Shinichi got hurt. His mother is essentially dead. To where I feel like this is going to boost up the relationship between Migi and Shinichi, because up until now, Migi doesn't have he doesn't have sympathy. He doesn't have affection towards others other than himself. He only cares about himself, his lifeline, you know, and his survival. To where I hope this loss from Shinichi really hits him like, this is what it means to be humans. This is what it means to have sympathy and affection and to go through loss. And I just hope he essentially I don't know how or in what way, but I hope Migi tries to learn the sympathy or the affection of Shinichi's loss, and that grows between both of them. And hopefully he can have affection for Shinichi to keep him alive, not just to keep himself alive, but, you know, for them to end up becoming buddies as the series progresses. From there, there's an interesting concept that I want to mention, because it's something that was noticed heavily in episode 4 and a little bit in episode 5, and that's the concept of the women intuition. Now, you know, we all hear that women's intuition, go with your gut, trust your instincts, all that stuff. But I feel like that's definitely a concept that is going to have a lot more, it's going to be a lot more prominent as the series progresses. And it's a kind of parasense that at least that's what I'm calling it, of selective female characters of this series thus far have the ability to just know when something's off. And you can say, oh yeah, that's just for, you know, obviously these two characters are very intertwined with one another. They know what each other's feelings, all that stuff. It was first referenced in episode 4, Ryoko's mother. The parasite that had taken over her body was doing fine, and the mother instantaneously knew, you're not my daughter. Who are you? Where did you do with my daughter? And ended up getting killed, to where the parasite was like, what the hell? Like, this lady's nothing special. How did she figure me out? Then, as the series, since episode 1, as the series progresses, you have Murano, who's been asking Shinichi, are you different? You know, something's changed about you. Are you all right? What's going on? And at that point, it's like, okay, do these girls have a type of quality or trait to them that they're able to just pick up on certain things? And I can understand, you know, Murano, you know, she's very close to Shinichi. Ryoko's mother, obviously a mother knows their child better than anyone. And obviously it also extends a little bit more to Shinichi's mother, to where episode 4 or 5 rather, you know, she was getting very emotional of, you know, she's like, I don't know who you are anymore. You don't do it. You don't say anything. You don't let us know what's wrong. I feel like you're not my son anymore, to where she even knows that there's something going on. Considerably, it could be also the fact of Shinichi's character development has changed, as now he's affected by the parasite inside of him. And then Kana, that other girl, we don't really know what she's all about, but she has the sense of picking up the same wavelengths as parasites. So essentially, she's able to sense parasites. She sensed it when she first saw Shinichi, and then again when she shook his hand. I'm pretty sure she sensed the presence of Migi. So I feel like this anime is taking on a better approach of the female intuition. Like I said, the parent thing is a little bit different because it's obvious. Like obviously your parents are going to know their kids. Even the subtle differences. Kana and Murano are a little bit different because that's a love affection for Murano, and then Kana is just this random girl that just came in this last episode. So I'm really looking forward. I'm wondering like where the hell is this going to go? At least for this concept, it's interesting because now it's like, okay, is Murano going to be in Shinichi's life? Is she going to find out about the parasite? Is she going to be an asset to him? Same thing with Kana, as they're both in the openings. And they both have a certain element to them that I feel is going to be very important as the series progresses. But that's a concept that's really interesting. We also found out about the body hopping, that these parasites actually are able to transfer from body to body, from the head. It's a little bit more complex. They have to sever the head, fuse, and then regenerate up into the right structure, like the right facial structure, to have it completely linked. But there's a same-sex transfer that goes into that. We saw the parasite at the beginning of episode 5, got destroyed in that car accident, transferred to the guy. The guy's body started rejecting it, and he was like, I can't transfer it to an opposite sex. It has to be same sex, it has to be a female. So I'm guessing that's a rule that they have to go by. Okay, if you want to transfer, if you want to body hop, it has to be the same sex. And I don't think that there's any type of reference to multi-host yet, because A did mention, he's like, oh, I don't know if it'll work, but I'm going to try to jump to Ryoko's body because his body was already fatally wounded from his battle with Migi and Shinichi. So those few concepts are something that I'm really looking forward to if we're going to get a little bit more reference to them. I'm pretty sure multi-host of, 2 parasites, 1 body is going to work as the story progresses, as the series moves on. Morph patterns are also another thing. Ryoko has like the blade hair and then the spikes on the other side, to where Shinichi was like, oh shit, she has at least 2 morph patterns, to where I feel like he only has 1, which is like the spiky, like the arms with the tentacle blades at the end of them. He only has 1 type, so he was obviously at a disadvantage. But something that I think is going to be really cool is the fact that Migi is able to detach himself from Shinichi and just move around for at least 3 minutes. I feel like that was a lot more than just a little type of experiment. I feel like that's going to be relevant as the series progresses, maybe tactically with Shinichi and Migi, in terms of combat. Is he able to like leave take his arm part and then leave the rest of his hand, like take the hand part and then leave the rest of the arm, and like have the tentacle blades at the end of the arm and then move around, on the hand part, doing whatever. Tactically, I'm wondering if that's going to apply and add any type of variety to combat as the series progresses. I feel like that was a lot better. I feel like it's going to be a lot more relevant than just him going for a walk, as Shinichi mentioned. But other than that, this episode was insane. Cliffhanger was phenomenal. Like I said, there's a lot of things that I'm looking forward to. Shinichi's development, psychologically more than anything. The story and the progression of, is he going to take the vengeful road of going after these parasites because they killed his family, because they hit close to home, and, everything else that was mentioned. Really looking forward to it. Like I said, I'm sorry, guys, that this episode came out a little bit late. I do apologize, but I will be on time for tomorrow's episode. I don't work tomorrow, so there's no excuses. But thank you, guys. Leave your thoughts on the episode, on my review, anything I mentioned. Be sure to thumbs up if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new to my channel, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. Take care.